Good. So I'm just gonna hit the record here and we are going to get into Facebook. So just give me a minute.
Of course, do your thing.
And then we are connecting to Facebook.
Go.
And there's the page
Perfect.
Heart to Heart we are going live on. So
Awesome.
I'm just going to get you back on the screen here. And I want to say hello, everybody. Welcome to Heart with Eva. And welcome, Abigail Mensah-Bonsu.
Oh, good job.
Correct?
I'm glad that you like went for it and you got it. I think it looks more complicated than it sounds. Yeah.
Perfect,
But thank
perfect.
you, Eva. Thank you for having me. I'm excited for us to have this heart to heart chat.
Yeah, me too, because you are such a vivid person full of energy and I just love your energies. So this is going to be so fun. And
Thank
for those who haven't met you yet, I'm just going to read the description, some parts of the description about you, and that is that you're actually the founder of the Moon Goddess Publishing, and you are the founder of Moon Goddess Academy and Moon Goddess Circles, and you are elevated consciousness and feminine embodiment mentor, multidimensional healer, and you're also an author, right? And you have your podcast, and I'm going to exclude like words so sorry, yeah, because I don't know how to pronounce that one. Okay, so yeah, well, you are so many things. I'm just getting blown away when I'm reading this. You are a leader. You're a true leader. You are a
Thank
visionary, a
you.
Wayshower, a light worker, and you are an empowerment of the female divine. That is how I see you. You are a goddess.
Thank you. Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
And I love to watch your show that you have, the Moon Goddess Weather Forecast. I think they are so healthy to watch because it makes me feel like I want to smile and I feel so energetically afterwards. So if you are to describe yourself in this work, how would you describe yourself to the viewers?
Hmm. When it comes to the core of who I am and how I serve in the world, my energy is activating, and there's an aspect of empowerment and liberation. And so this part is like the Magdalene lineage that I'm connected to, is the Magdalene life essence that flows through me. And so the liberation, that is like helping you to see that what the stuckness that you are experiencing is a mental construct, and also to let you know that you have the power to break through whatever construct you are experiencing, that you are never stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you are so powerful that you create your challenges, and you also can get out of the challenges. You came in with all the tools that you need to succeed in this life.
Yeah.
Yes, the soul came in to have experiences so that it can mature, it can, whatever that the soul contract is, right? But you made sure that you had everything that you need to move through those challenges, to move through whatever comes your way, but there's something about coming into this planet where they call it the cosmic amnesia. We forget, right? And that's part of the journey. Eventually we'll remember, right? And a lot of my journey is about that remembrance, a huge part of it, especially in the mystery school, about remembering. So you will remember your path, and as you are walking on the path, you will start to collect everything that you have forgotten. Now, in this time and age that we're in, like the fifth dimensional consciousness that we're in, this is happening quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're no longer having to like take the journey for a year, 2 years, 10 years, God knows how long, right? Most of us have done it. Now it's like, if you are ready, I'm ready to know the truth. Who am I? Boom, right there, right? So it's just such a beautiful time that we're in. So my energy, liberation, empowerment, but is to help you notice that you have the power to create your heaven on earth, that everything that you need is within it. And also, you came in with badass people, guides, ancestors, masters of light, that they're here to work with just you. They chose to be your posse. I call them the divine posse, right? You have thousands of these divine beings who are literally standing around waiting for you to be like, hey, I need your help.
Yeah.
Right, because they're not going to break through, they're not going to break our free will and just pop in, right? So we have to ask, we have to get to know them, we have to be like, okay, I see you, I came in with you, let's do this.
Yeah,
Right.
I got this picture of Posse standing there with Archangel Michael rolling the revolver in his hand, like, yeah, we are here.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, it is such a, uh, well, this shift, obviously, as we call it, has, as you said, escalated. Because I'm thinking back when I was growing up and started to get interested in those writings. There were books, and there were schools, and there was a hierarchy. I think you call it hierarchy, and you had to move through certain levels before you get somewhere. And God
Yes.
forbid that you had some other opinion or try to get out of that because you needed to follow that path. And
Mm.
now it's presenting itself in this moment as we ask for it. And
Yes.
that is such a true blessing. And for me, it's a confirmation that we have actually shifted into the 5D somewhat. Somewhat. I don't see that we are quite there yet because we are still here in 3D in some ways, but we are escalating into the 5D rapidly.
Exactly. Yeah, we're still in the process. You know, there's a lot that what I'm getting is that there's a higher percentage of people that are currently, I'm getting like 65% that are in the 5D, which is really amazing and big, right? And so the rest are gradually also making their way in. And the cool thing is that what is really making this number bigger and making this process more accelerated is the new beings coming in, the new children coming in, because they're coming in high frequency, 5D and
Oh
up.
yeah.
Actually, majority of them are beyond 5D, and they're coming in knowing who they are, remembering everything. So as they continue to come in, they help that container even get more amplified, and it opens all of us up so that we can step up quickly. So it's just such an exciting time. And at the same time, you know, it's a bit scary because we're expanding on we're on an accelerated track to expansion.
Yeah. And as you say, the new people that are born now or growing up, they are so into this, and it's so natural for them. And in my age, I'm 55 now, so you know, yeah, they could be some bit scary, because you are supposed to have this knowledge. You are supposed to be there and know everything, and suddenly there's a 3 years toddler knowing more than you. You're like, yes, that's true. Yeah. But in the same time, it's so great that it's going that way, because we can learn from everybody,
Exactly.
and it's a new
Yeah,
way.
I
And
love it.
yeah, I just want to go back a bit, because on your page there says that you are moon goddess, and for many people, we are thinking like you are only sort of speaking to women, and that is
Mm,
not true, because to be a moon goddess as you are also includes men.
exactly.
So, do you get a lot of mix up about that, being a goddess here, that you are only here for a certain part of the population? That was an
You
odd
know,
question,
this
I know.
year is very interesting because my Magdalene lineage really stepped, actually started last year. where that calling was stronger. It got really activated and clearer. And majority of my work is to help that bring balance to that divine feminine. Now, as that happens, automatically pulls the divine masculine also in the dance, because it is a dance, right? There's no one without the other. You can't do a ballroom dance without having the other partner, right? So it's a partner dance here. And this is what, you know, a lot of people need to know about, you know, when they hear the divine feminine is rising. It's not that she's rising and then the masculine is falling off. No, she is coming back to her throne. She is taking her spot so that she can start to dance with the masculine instead of just a masculine twirling around, taking over everything, right? So she's coming in to dance with him and also bring balance within us and also in the world. This is what we are going into. So it's very interesting. I love being of service to women. And here's the thing, they are drawn to me. I am more connected to who is drawn to my energy. If a man comes to me, they know why they were drawn to me. And I know why they were drawn to me. If it is a woman, great, right? So I flow more with who is drawn to my energy rather than you're a man, you're a woman, because this is the internal work. But I have to say that Magdalene in me is like, women, let's do this. But I can see after the feminine has reclaimed her throne in fullness and is in that dance, then the masculine, more of the masculine will begin to come in, because now the masculine is like, I don't know how to do this dance with you. Like, how do we dance together and be harmonious and be in sync and be in the same energy, right? So there's a balancing going on. But right now, women, or the divine feminine, is priority, because she has to get out there first. She has to be in the dance. And then the balancing act will be the next step. Yeah.
And that's where I wanted to go with that question, because a lot of women doesn't feel so empowered today, and just being relearning how to step into your own power and actually be here, be heard, be seen, and actually have the fearlessness to speak your truth and hold in the light is so important. And that is not a manifestation in the heavenly realm that is the only thing. It's the, as you said, the essence that need to be there to complement the masculine divine. So yeah, that is a balance. So I now I can't ask you that question.
You know, and I wanted to add a little bit more. This balance, this dance that is happening, this balance that is happening within us first. So, you know, like as I was talking, I could see people thinking, okay, a man and a woman, you know, like that linear thinking, like
stereotype,
and I was like, no, let's go within first, because you got to find that balance within you first. We all have both the divine masculine side and the divine feminine side. You know, they all have a specific purpose. Look within you. Where are you out of balance? Who is in charge? You know, in this society with women, a lot of women are, you know, they're in that masculine energy because they have to survive, right? So the masculine energy had a purpose, but now they're learning more and more that the divine feminine side is as powerful as the mass. It's like the water is as powerful as the fire.
Yeah.
Right. And so finding like, oh, I can actually be both. I can bring them together. Oh, I'm even better when they're together, right? So that is like, you got to find that within you first. Where are you out of sync? How can you bring the other side in? If you're more of the divine feminine side, how are you going to be bringing that masculine in to nurture him, right? To really bring him in the mix and just surround him with that that delicious sweet nectar of life, right? That water essence, and let him know that he's loved, that he's not alone, right? I'm talking about this on the inner, but you can see how this can also be applied on the outer level too, with our relationships with the outer.
And it's actually a very hard work. And for me, it began like in 2017, I think, when I was drawn back to nature and I feel the urge to get connected with my feminine side, and I never felt that before. And sometimes I know through through the years past that people have said I could be a bit bossy, and I don't know what they mean by that. But so it suddenly became very, very important for me to find myself within myself. And 2020, and when you appeared on Return to the Priestess with Dawn, that was a really game changer for me, because I really needed to step into the role of finding myself. And that wasn't easy. It was really, really hard work, and I don't think that I have suppressed myself in any way. I feel that I always have empowered myself, but there was a totally different energy that I actually let out there. So I can totally get it. I
Yeah.
can totally get it. So, how did you start with this journey about connecting with yourself, and take that role as a leader as you are?
Yeah. So it's very interesting because I feel like I was born into the role. I was born, most people are very comfortable in their physicality. They come in, I'm human world, physical world. I'm going to master this. I came in more spiritual.
Mm.
So my connection with spirit has always been so powerful. I mean, that is my physical realm. Like I get it like how you experience it right now. I see the spiritual world just as I see my physical world, like through that reflection. And so I came in with that knowing already. Now I wasn't surrounded by teachers. I wasn't surrounded by people who would teach me and be like, oh, this is why you always dream about angels and always playing with them and always dreaming about the divine and wanting to go back home. Like I didn't have that. So a lot of that was the inner wisdom that I came with. That was my solace. My connection to source was my soul. It still is. Like there was a time I was like, the only reason why I'm still living is because of my connection to source. Without that connection, I don't know if I would want to be here.
Mm.
Right. And we know why, because this is dense. This is tough work.
It,
And being someone who still remembers that connection to source, that oneness with source, like it's not something that you can shake off. It's something that you crave more and more to actually create it in the physical world. So I came in with that wisdom, but my discovery, my turning point was when I decided that, well, I'm still here on this planet. So I might as well enjoy it, right? I'm not gonna leave and go home anytime soon. There's so many times I prayed. I was like, you know what? I'm done. Like, can I just be done with my work and come back home? I need to come home. Like, this was my prayer all the time. And I would always get the answer, it's not time. Like from a very young age, I would have visions of the heavens opening up and a line of people, going to the gate and they're all excited. And I'm like, run into the gate and I get there and I'm like, yes, I'm going home. And my first one was like Ascended Master Jesus would like pop in and like, no, it's not time, sweetie. You got work to do. Go finish it and we'll talk. I'm like,
I'm getting so
oh,
emotional now when you're talking, so tears are popping up in my eyes.
yeah.
But yeah,
That
I
like
can totally sense that.
I had a dream of the visions like a lot of times, the dreams like
Mm.
since I was very, very young. And the older I get, it was just more of a feeling like, am I done? Am I done with my work? And I always get, you just beginning. What are you doing? Right. But it was just me trying to escape. Right.
Yeah.
I got to the earth and I'm like, oh, what did I decide to do? So the turning point was when I decided that I'm going to live, since if I'm here, that I'm going to live and live amazingly. I'm going to start embodying my spirit. So my spirit was up here. My physicality was down here. I was an empty shell, right? You would see my physical body, but my spirit was still hanging out here. So I began to pull my spirit back into my body, and which means that I was navigating the world very differently now because I wasn't escaping anymore. I was right here. And so that opened a whole journey, bringing in the right teachers. My first teacher was a shaman, and she really helped me to anchor down onto this planet. Like up to now, when I look back, I'm like, wow, that's incredible. Like how amazing was that? That my first teacher would be someone who is adept in the art of the earth,
Mm-hmm.
to really help me to feel good in this body, to be here now, and to teach me how to navigate as a human being, right? Spirit in human form. And so it's very beautiful in that sense. And then once that I studied under her for probably like 2.5 years, and that led me to the next part of my journey, which is about remembering what I came here, like who am I, where I came from, like that, the whole Kabbalistic questions, like of diving deep. And that, that drew me to my next teacher, who was more of the spiritual. So this is where I learned Kabbalism, shamanism, spiritual mastery, all of the occult, sacred mystery teachings, which is all about discovering who you are beyond this physicality, and also breaking down any lies, any programs that we have gathered around us that we've used to define who we are, like really removing those. I mean, it's intense work, it is
It
definitely
really is.
intense
It
work,
really
but
is. Yeah.
all of that is to guide you back to your center, so you know who you are and anchor even deeply into this truth. So it doesn't matter what is going on in the world, you always know who you are, you always know where you came from, what you're here to do. You always have that truth right here. Yeah.
It sure is
So
hard work, but I also hear the word liberation. It must be such a
yes,
liberation when you actually stepped into your own being, so to speak.
absolutely. Absolutely. That is the word for it. It is to liberate all of us from the mental construct, from the community construct, from all anything that someone told us that we needed to be in order to be a part of something. Societal construct, cultural construct, right? Whatever. I always see them as jackets that we borrow to wear. And most of them don't even fit us. Like we're just wearing it so that we can fit in. We're just wearing it so that we can make sense of our world. But the more we take on, it becomes our reality. And we start to believe that all these layers of jackets is really who we are. And we forget what is underneath all those layers. So when you are drawn into these higher teachings, right, it really helps you to start to remove the jackets. I mean, in this day and age, you just grab the whole bunch and just rip it off. Or you
Yeah.
just burn it off, right? You just like, I'm done. Let's just move on, right? And then you get to the core. Oh, okay. So without these layers around me, this is who I am. Well, who am I now? And then you start the journey. This is Kabbalah. Who am I? What is my mind? My mind is connected to the will of the divine. It's connected to the mind of the divine. Who is the divine? How are we connecting? What is that connection? Like all of that questions start to come up, and that's how you go deeper and deeper and deeper into your own mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how you describe it, but I had never thought of it before. But the jacket that you are describing is like a protection shield. So we are ripping it off, band-aids, bit by bit. Yeah, that's interesting.
Ouch.
Ouch. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good word.
sometimes it's
Good word.
ouch. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're like, I don't want to let that go. That, for example, if you've always, let's say you've always been a teacher, that's always been you. And all of a sudden it's like, no, you're a healer. It's like, no, but I've always been a teacher. I'm really good at that. So how is it that that's not what I'm supposed to do anymore? Right. And then, oh, I'm a healer. I don't even know what a healer is. What am I supposed to do with that? Right.
Uh,
So there's that transition in there. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to let go of what I've always known. I have to let go of what is comfortable for me to step into something that I have no idea what it is or where it's going to take me. Right?
mm,
It takes courage. It takes
it
strength.
does. It takes a
Yeah.
lot of courage to look inside yourself and see what you are carrying with you, what you are willing to let go to move forward. So yeah, good
Yeah.
work. That's good work for everybody who's actually looking inside.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Everyone.
yeah, it is. So now that you have been following the path of rediscovering who you are, so then you went into some teaching modality, right? So how did that occur in your life? Was it it obviously grew as you were growing too. So
Mm.
because I'm a bit curious about this Moon Goddess Academy.
So let's go ahead. You're asking about my soul gifts, like how that developed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the healer, the healer was the first one that was activated. I believe I started healing my mom in the womb. And then after I came up, I continued to heal my mom. And the way I healed was that I'll actually take on the pain into my body, and so that they would be liberated from it. Now I know that I didn't need to do that. Nobody taught me that, right? But I felt good because I would see the shift within them. You know, for example, one of my friends who was our neighbor, he got really sick. And, you know, I was like, oh my gosh, he's suffering. I'm going to take this on. And I got sick and I laid in the same room with him. You know, like now I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I was doing. I was very young and this is what I was doing. Right. And he got better like within a day. And it took me probably like a couple of days to like get better too. Nobody understood why that was happening. I knew that healer I could do that. I could pull that energy from others and help them heal. But what I didn't know is I didn't need to put it in my body. I didn't need to transmute it. I didn't need to use the sacred body to heal anybody, that the healing energy could just flow through me and go to them. Right. But at a young age, that's what I knew because I did it in utero with my mom. And so that continued. So from the healer, the intuitive part was also there, like very, very psychic. I mean, I was, you know, one of the things that, you know, I was born and raised in Ghana. Like I came here probably like 99. So it's been like 20 something years now. But back home, I hated Fridays because on Fridays, that's when a lot of, you know, like the funerals would happen. It was like a whole weekend ordeal. And every Friday, like this was like the other ones that was the other gift that was activated was mediumship. Every night I would dream, I would go to, you know, the houses where they've lost someone and I would guide them back home. And not all of them were nice. It was very scary. I mean, I was a child again to do that work. It was so intense and scary sometimes. I mean, you know, it was nice to, you know, guide the souls that felt good. And, you know, but I always had my guides with me. I was fearless. I could do that because I never did it by myself. My angels, Archangel Michael, he's been with me since I was, you know, like born. Like we've been doing this for a long time. But that's something that I did when I was very young. I would guide, you know, the healer was there, the mediumship was there, the highly psychic part was also there. They were all, you know, cultivated in a way as in like continue to just do the work that I was doing. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what it was called, but I knew that that's the gifts that I had. Now, as I was, you know, growing, as I was discovering myself, as I, you know, found, or the teachers found me, I should say, you know, that's when I started to really understand and put things together. Oh, so that's what I was doing in utero. That's the healer part. Oh, the mediumship. Okay. You know, and the funny thing is like with the mediumship part, once we moved here to the US, that part stopped. And they actually changed into the channel. So it's very interesting. Those two, the channel and the medium, they have their purpose are very the same. The only difference is that the channel is connected to the higher realm, right? Like I am the channel for source energy. That's it, right? Where the medium works on this plane, right? Works on the plane, like to help those who are ready to pass on to move to that next level, right? So the mediumship is very heavy most of the time, like it's just dense and it's scary and you know, sometimes where the channeling part, I mean, that part can be scary. My little one. Oh,
that could be scary too.
He's with daddy. He probably wants something that he knows he's not supposed to have. So yeah, what I was saying is that, where was I? Oh yes, you know, getting up there with a channel, like that can be scary too if you are not connected and in tune with yourself You don't have the right protection around you. You don't understand that the only thing that you're channeling is the divine. You know, a lot of people go into channeling, like they connect to the archangels, the angels. Now, all of that is nice, but we know that in this universe, there's a duality, there's the dark and the light. And the dark, a lot of times, will pretend that it is the light. They're very good at pretending. So if you are not true to yourself, if you're not connected to the true source, and like, this is how I see the channel. It's like, this is your channel right here, and it plugs right into source. Yeah. If someone wants to bring a message to humanity, it has to come through that source channel, through my higher self and to me. I don't need to like bend over here to go plug into another being, or, you know. And the thing is that the higher beings, the beings that are in tune with the divine, all the archangels, all the ascended masters, the masters of light, they're all going to come through that because they're all one with the divine. Yeah. So we don't need to be doing this connection here, there. We can just be that center, being that center pillar, and allow whatever needs to come through from that center pillar to come through us. That is, you know, that's the main way. Like when, what was there was something else coming in.
Explanation you are explaining is so good.
Yeah, there was something else coming in with because I feel like that is so important to talk about. So I remember, as you know, the mediumship turned into the channel, which, you know, now it makes sense because my true part of my 12 archetypes, I'm a channel for the divine. It's in my 12th house, or 11th or 12th house, so it's high up there. So it makes a lot of sense. When I'm channeling, I'm not channeling anything that is not divine, because that is what I know, right? But if I didn't have that teachings before I stepped into that, I would have been, you know, doubling over here, maybe going over here, maybe trying to tap into ETs that I have no idea who they are or if they really are, right? But I had to first connect to source. I had to feel what it means to be in that source vibration. And then anything that is not of that unconditional love, right? I can sense it. So it doesn't matter if the wolf put that, you know, sheepskin on, I can still sense you because I'm going beyond what I'm seeing. I'm feeling through the heart of the divine. I'm seeing through the eyes of the divine. You can't fool the divine, right? So that is so important. You know, as channels and mediums, it does not have to be heavy. If it is heavy, it is a huge red flag for you to be discerning. What are you connecting to? Because whatever it is that you're connecting to, if it is not of divine nature, it will be heavy. It's going to be icky. Your body's not going to feel good. Your mind's not going to feel good. If you are channeling or mediating something that is bringing through something that is of that divine light, that source center, right? It's going to feel light. It's going to feel effortless. It's going to feel joyful, like ecstatically joyful, blissful. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is incredible, right? So really it's so huge to be discerning. But again, if you are connected to that center, that is your discernment. Your higher self discerns. Your divine aura discerns before it even comes to you. Right. Yeah. So that is so important. So for those of you who have the gift of mediumship and channel, be discerning. Make sure that you are plugged into source first before you do bring any messages through. Seriously, you know, it can be so dangerous.
You are explaining this so very, very good.
Thank you.
I almost got scared for a bit there when you were talking about the dark energy coming in, but they are there. They are there, and as soon as there are fear involved, it's not from the light because they are not they are not scaring you. So if you are feeling the fearness when you are connecting, there is something that shouldn't be there.
Exactly.
That will bring me back a bit to what you said earlier about your channeling and mediumship and how you were in this energy and working with energy and not really understood how or why, and then you met your mentor, shamanic mentor and a spiritual teacher, and you learned how to use those tools. And I think that's very important to also address to a lot of people, that to go to school, so to speak, or to be in a mentorship with someone is not to learn something that you already had. Is how to learn how to use it, to
Ah,
shape it.
I see what you're saying. So
Yeah.
there's a shift there. Let me talk a little bit about this.
Yeah.
So we find our teachers, or I should say, our teachers come in to help us remember what we already have, who
Mm-hmm.
we really are, right? So I know what you were saying. Like, you're going there to learn how to use the gift that you have. There's that aspect there, but the beginning part, and I feel like this is a lot of people miss this,
Mm-hmm.
whether they, because they don't know, or they just don't want to do the work. They want you, the teacher, to do the
Yeah.
work for them, which we've all experienced that before, right? But the purpose of having a mentor or a teacher, even a healer, someone that you are learning something from, like, I want you to go into it as they are helping you to remember what is already within you. What you see with them is what is awakening within you. You chose them. They chose you because there's an alignment there. You share the same frequency. And as you come into each other's energy, that mentor's frequency begins to activate that wisdom within you. And
Mm-hmm.
so once that is activated, then through mentoring, you can see, okay, this is how I can use it. But even that, like for me, what I learned is like, that was the foundation of how I can use my gifts. And the more I tune into it, I realized that it wasn't just one way of using my gifts. It began to shift and reshape itself as I grew, as I evolved. It also evolved as well. And so I had to be fluid with it. Being identified as the healer, I thought that was it at first, right? Oh, I'm a healer. Oh, I'm a healer. It's like, wait a minute. No, I'm not just a healer, right? And then I was like, oh, look, I'm very intuitive. I can do readings. I can tap in this. And it's like, wait, that's not all I am either, right? So that was like my journey, where it's like every time I would attach to something, it's like, no, that's not all you are. But it was nice because it's like taking one subject and really getting to know, really learning that subject. And when you graduate, you go to the next subject.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what I did. And it feels good because you're mastering each phases. And at the end, you're like, oh, wait, I can just, like, they all belong in one place. I was just looking at different pieces of the puzzle, but they all belong in one picture,
It does.
right? Not everybody goes through that process. Some people are like, oh, no, I totally get it. This is all me, right? And for them, it might be just, how do I, take this whole picture and apply it in my work, right? So just honor whatever that gift is. What I teach my clients is, don't get attached to what you think, who you think you are, and also what gifts you brought, because I promise you, you haven't even hit the bottom or even the midway of your potential.
Right.
And as you grow, as you expand, as you evolve, more opens up. For example, earlier this year, my light language opened up, like it got activated, where I'm able to speak it now, which before I could just do symbols. I could just, it was just doodling symbols. That was like my thing. I could maybe tone, right? But I could never speak it. But I was so drawn to it. When I hear people speak light language, it would bring me to tears. There's a remembrance there. And earlier this year, it was like, boom, my higher self was like, just take your phone and start speaking. And it came right in, right? If you ask me if I spoke light language before then, I'll be like, no. And I don't see myself ever doing that because I didn't even know what it was, understood what it was. But as I evolved, as I got to that next level, that was part of that package that opened up as well. So don't get attached to it. It doesn't matter if right now you have the most amazing badass gift ever. Don't get attached to it, because I promise you there's even a higher level. The moment you attach,
Is.
yeah.
Yeah.
There is. And the moment you attach it, you close that. You just like, you put a ceiling on your potential. You're like, oh, this is as high as I can get. No,
Yeah.
you're infinite,
It's
right?
a sort of limitation. I can see it like there are labels of what you are doing, as I can put a label on myself that I'm a healer, and it's more like, for me, it's like I'm addressing myself as a healer because people want to know, what are you doing? So yeah, I'm a healer, and it's more like a it's not that I totally identify myself with the concept of being a healer, because healing can be so many
Yes.
layers, but there is a, how should I say, sometimes it's necessary to have a label for some people who are not comfortable in being in
Yes.
this environment. They need to know what you are doing, but it's also a limitation, because when people are looking at what's out there, they are seeing like healer, channeler, medium, etc., and they are excluding things that could actually open them up. So I think it's joyful to be in new groups, to learn new, to see with other eyes, and just to be able to receive information in a new way,
Yeah.
because I need to relearn some of the things that I have learned, because of the old stuff, and we are moving into the new world and need to relearn, be open for what is actually out there. So really
This,
necessary.
yeah. So there's two things that are coming in as I was listening. The first part I'm going to share, and then the second one I'll share that too. So the first part, this is why in the olden days they had the mystery schools,
Mm-hmm.
because the goal of the mystery school is the mystery of you, is you learning about who you are on every level, your powers, your potential, your gifts, all of it, who you are beyond this physical body. That was the mystery, the mystery school teaching. So you learn about Kabbalah. You learn Kabbalah is the study of the mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Connecting to the mind of God. And what does that look like? What does your mind, your higher mind look like? You have ritual mastery, which is about the heart. You have high priestess or high priesthood, which is about the center path, walking that middle way, really being anchored in that center once you learn about all the other aspects. So you have the mind, you have the body, you have the heart, and then you have the connection to the divine in the north, right? So you bring all of that together and you begin to embody that right here. But it's about the teaching of who you are. So teachers come in to help you remember these topics, these gifts that are within you that you are ready to receive at this time. But what I see most of the times that people stop there and they just follow the teacher.
Mm.
Whatever the teacher says is what they do. What they don't realize is that the teacher is guiding them deeper and deeper into themselves. Hi, hoping that they will take control and actually get to know themselves by themselves
Yeah, and
and
that
not
can
need
actually
them
go
anymore.
both ways. That can actually go
Um,
both ways.
you mean like the teacher also learning from the students?
No, I'm meaning, like, if I'm teaching something and I have a student that's just listening and following where I'm going and where I'm talking, I'm getting deeper and deeper involved in this learning modality, and I forget about the necessity for the student to be actually practicing by itself, or by themselves, not it by them
Mm-hmm.
itself, but by themselves. So that could actually be a trap for me as a teacher, that I lead them deeper and deeper into um, my own perspective. If you hear a sound, it's my dog here sleeping.
Oh yeah, you're fine.
Good.
No,
Um,
I see where you're coming from. So, where, because there are teachers who love to be that high status, who
yeah.
like to be the one that people look up to. Like, I'm the way, I have all the answers. If you follow me and do what I do, you're fine. There are some teachers like that, unfortunately, right?
Mm,
And they have their purpose. They teach us something, right? They teach
yeah.
us to, step into our own sovereignty, right? But the true, well, what am I looking for? The true purpose of the teacher is to lead by example, in a way as in, like, what you're seeing is who you are. Like, that should be the motto of the teacher. What you're seeing in me is who you are. Once you realize that, you don't need me anymore, and it is okay.
Yeah.
It is okay for you to go and take everything I taught you and go explore it, because I bet you even how I do my things is not going to be how you do things. How you use your healer energy is not going to be how I use my healer energy, right? We all do things differently. So it's very interesting. That's why when you're operating, that's why it begins with you first. It begins with you being fully in yourself. The teachers will come in, and when they do, you will understand they're reflecting to you who you are. And when you do that, you learn differently. You know, I remember in the mystery school, when I jumped in, my teacher was amazing, like just in her element, like everything, like, oh my goodness, what an amazing woman. And you know, there came a time where I heard very clearly, you're here to remember. You know, I wanted to be there for a long time because it was a community that nurtured. I mean, just where do you find that, where you can be all that you are, right? And towards the end of my, I'm going to say my spiritual school, right? Graduation, that's what I call it. It was very clear that it was time for me to move on and take everything that I've learned and start to apply it. You know, staying in the mystery school would mean that I was very comfortable and I was just, you know, having fun, you know, just being with like, but I wasn't sharing my gifts with the world. So the graduation was when I left and began to actually share my gifts with the world, which is the purpose of the mystery school anyway. So it begins with you. It begins with you. Who are you? You know, have you activated your connection with your higher self? Are you working with the divine? Are you in tune with the divine? Are you connected to the divine, right? Do you know who your divine posses are, right? Once you know you, when the teachers are coming in, right, you will understand why they showed up. It's not going to be something that is out of your power. You understand that you drew them in because you are ready to learn whatever they have, and that whatever codes they're bringing you, whatever codes that drew you to them as well, it's within you and it's getting activated right now as you're in the energy, right? It becomes, the relationship becomes empowering, right? Instead of, oh, you're higher than me, you know, like, oh my gosh, just take my money and tell me what to do, right? It's more like, oh my gosh, we're doing this, we're co-creating here. Thank you for helping me remember what my potential is. And thank you for showing me the way on how to get there, right? It changes the relationship and it changes how you work with each other too. Yeah.
Well, some people are just giving away the power and giving away the power to someone else to form their life to live,
Yes.
and that will get back to them sooner or later, actually. But so when you are graduating from this mystery school that you were into, you stepped into your role as a wayshower.
Yes. Yes.
And leadership and being that light anchoring here to make heaven on earth, right?
Exactly. Yes, you got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Good.
You know, and you can see the process I had to, or my soul walked me through, you know, the journey of remembrance that I had to walk. It was empowerment, embodiment and remembrance. That's what that journey was about. In order for me to be ready to emerge into the world, like, here I am, and this is what I can serve. And even where I am right now is still, I'm still learning. I'm still unfolding, right? I'm still opening up to new, right? There's never an end in there.
It isn't.
Yeah.
There's a whole dimension. Oh no, it's not in one dimension. It's a lot of dimensions to explore and a lot of frequencies to learn from. So we will never be fully learned here in while we are still here on Earth.
Exactly.
But yeah, well, you see, when I look at you, or when I saw you at the Return of the Priestess there, now I'm getting stuck on my own time. You were this, you were the light. There are some people that talk about it, and there are some people that actually holding the light. And for me, and I'm sure everybody has a different experience of that, but for me, you were one of those in that show that actually held the light, anchoring the light here. And that is why I find you very interesting, because I do, because you are shining there, and I know that you're having your own podcast and different shows. So, would you let us into what exactly does it mean to be in that position that you are? Because you have a heavenly, yes, you have a heavenly responsibility, but a heavy responsibility to stay in that light and be that anchor, and that is not an easy position to be in.
Well, the first thing I want to say is it's not about staying in the light, because I am the light.
Yeah.
That's the difference here. The consciousness, I am that higher consciousness. I am the light. So it's not a matter of I have to do something to be the light or to hold that light. All I have to do is just show up. And it is there, right? So far as I show up in my true authentic self, I will always show up as the light. The moment I try to be something else that I'm not, or trying to pretend, or going into fear, then you begin to feel that distortion. We all go through that. We all get that experience. But where we're all heading to is realizing that truth, that you already are the light, and that holding that truth is also removing anything that is not true about it, that you have taken on, like, oh, that it can't be that I'm the light. How can my life be like this and I'm the light? But you are. You always will be. Doesn't matter what kind of hard time you're having right now, you still are the light, right? So for me, it's just who I am. Like, there's no separation. It's just who I am, and that's how I show up, unapologetically.
But being you as you are, and being light, you are. I will still call it anchoring the light, because there's a density in this dimension that we are, and just being who you are, being that light, can be so difficult sometimes. And you make it seem so easy.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. The key is to continue to do the work on yourself. Even for me, the work never ends. And the more I work with my clients, the more I even get to know myself, the more, a layer of, like a programming or an emotion that I've stored since childhood comes up. The work continues. The more you break down the things that are not the false aspects of you, the more of yourself will come in. It's a continuous work, right? I'm able to hold this much light and continue to expand that, because I choose to continue to work on myself and grow and be better. And here's the thing, the way the growth is knowing. For me, it's like, I know my higher self. I understand. I don't know how it will pan out, but I understand, I can see, I can sense what I'm here to do. And that is my truth. That's my core truth. And that is what I operate from, right? And so as I grow, it's like I'm growing towards that. I am expanding towards that. It's like the vision that helps you on your path, if that makes any sense. What is your high vision? Like when you tune into the highest aspect of yourself, who are you? What are you doing? That motivates you to continue, right? If you don't have that vision of, oh my gosh, there's so much more that is better than what I'm experiencing right now. If you don't have the understanding of, this is just an experience on earth. And yes, there's the emotions, I embrace it. There's the mind pain, I embrace it. There's the human pain, I embrace it. It is all part of my journey, but I know there's always something better. I can always create something better. I can always choose something better. It's like my husband calls me the eternal optimist, right? Because it requires you to be optimistic in order to continue in this world, because this world is not going to be easy just because you're a light holder. If anything, the light comes in and amplifies everything and lights out everything, right? Whether you want to see it or not. For someone like me, who's a a light holder. When you enter a room that is dark, it is going to illuminate everything. And if someone is not ready to see, like, if they're ready, they'll embrace it and be like, oh, thank you for showing me that. Now I can go work with it. But if they're not ready, there can be backlash, right? So how do you even work with that? Again, you understand that all you're just a channel of light.
Yeah.
Whatever happens in your presence, they were drawn in your presence for a reason, but you don't have any control over anyone or their experiences. It is for them. They can do whatever they want to do. They can act however. You cannot take that personal, right? So the eternal optimism, like that comes in handy in a world like this. It keeps you moving forward. Again, my connection to the divine is non-negotiable, because without it, I would not be who I am or be able to do what I'm doing. This world is dense.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times that I look around, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't even like, this is heavy. This is heavy right now. And I'll have to call in like more light. Divine, this is too heavy for me. Please help me out, right? So even for me, I still ask for help, right? It's a never ending thing. You call in the help that you need. You bring in even more light when you feel, when you feel dark, when you feel heavy, you call in more of that support. You anchor even more of that down, and you keep going. You call in the support that you need. You need people to be there for you. Do you need the embrace of your angels? When we are going through our toughest times, like when I'm going through my toughest time, the image is like, I crave to be one with the divine. I crave it. And so in meditation, I see the divine as this golden ball of light, and I'm right in there. Like I'm part of that golden, I'm like, you can't tear us apart. And I just get back in there and I just breathe in there for as long as I want. So you got to have these sacred practices that help your heart, help your body, help your life. Because without the spiritual realm, without that connection to the higher aspect of yourself, you are going to be drawn down by this density. You will feel stuck. You will always feel that heaviness. The light comes in to lift you up. The light comes in to help you feel lighter in this density, right?
It does. And as
There's
you're
so much.
speaking there, I'm just getting warmer and warmer in my heart space, and I get a wider smile too. And it's pretty heavy stuff that you are talking about, and I'm still feeling very joyful, but that's me.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm responding to your light. So that is why, but everything that you have said now, and you have given so much information about your journey, but it's all has led up to where you are right now, because you are a leader and a mentor.
Thank you.
Mentor, yeah. Yeah. English is not my native language, so
You are doing great.
yeah, thank you. But so where are you right now? Because I know where to find you, but if you are to describe what you are doing for those who are listening, where can they find you, and what are you offering at this time?
Yes, great question. So you can find me on social media, Facebook, find my name. I have a free Facebook group that I share a lot of my teachings. I have a ton of information to really support you there. So you can always join it as Moon Goddess Sacred Sanctum. You can always come join us there. And you can find me on my website too. If you want to learn about my services, what I do, you can just pop in there and check it out. So my best ways to work with me right now, and I have a couple of avenues. So I'm going to start with my year program, which is called Goddess Unleashed. It's really about stepping into that sovereign being that you are, sovereign goddess that you are, right? And this is a whole year program. I have so many tools that I bring in, and then they're tangible tools, something that you do on a daily basis to help you anchor this higher wisdom, this higher light within your life on a continuous basis, right? So it's a very high packed, fully supported, journey, right? It's all about you expanding out and identifying the support around you, and also stepping into that creator goddess energy that you have to create the life that you want. So it's one of my favorite programs.
So that
You
is
can
for
also
a
do
whole
one.
year?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
So right now, the women in there, I mean, we're almost in September. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Yeah. So the doors will be open again. I'm going to open it again in October for 2022 for the people who want to come in 2022. I also have another way that you can work with me with a publishing house is allowing more authentic stories to be published out there, and also allows you to become a published author in the easiest way possible. But the whole mission behind my publishing house is to amplify the voices and, amplify the voices of those who are ready to share their medicine with people. So it's real stories to real people, right? It's not about numbers anymore. It's not about, fancy. It's like you have an experience that's going to shift someone's life. That's going to help someone know that they can also get up, that they, there's a brighter future. What motivate them, inspire them, empower them. And we're taking that story and we're expanding, we're amplifying it by publishing it so that more people have access to it, right?
Yeah.
So it's a great way to activate your voice, right? It's a great way to really start to operate from that place. Like, oh my gosh, I'm a leader. This is how I lead. I'm leading with my voice. I'm leading with my story, right? I'm leading with the experiences that I thought that wouldn't even matter to anybody. And now it's like, oh my gosh, I just had this person send me a message saying, thank you. You just saved my life. Right. Thank you. You just motivated me or inspired me to go for my dream life, to go for my dream job. Right. Like, we need more stories like that. And so my publishing house is bringing more and more of that into the world. And
sharing
so,
is
yeah,
caring.
it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. People don't realize that to choose to be published is not an easy feat. Like what I'm teaching right now, the contributors in my current book, Miraculous, which will be coming out in the fall, this is what they're noticing as they're writing their stories. There's fears that come up. There's doubts that come up. There's all the stuff that comes out. You're like, oh my gosh, am I even ready to share this? Who even wants to read? Like all of that stuff comes up, and I teach them how to go through that, how to, understand what is coming up, right? And to process through it. But I also teach them how to step into that wayshower level. It looks like a very simple step. Oh, I just share my story and I'm published. Woohoo. No, it takes you to, it's a whole initiation.
Huge step to take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole initiation in itself. Once you take that step, it's like people get to know you on a different level. It's like you chose to share your story. When you see someone say, I'm a best-selling author, what I see is that you were brave enough to share your story with the world. That's what I see. You were brave enough to share your experiences, what you learned through your life, in order to inspire someone, to empower someone, to uplift someone. That's what I see when I see that. And, more of these, I call them the feminine driven publishing houses that are coming up. That is a huge part of that mission, right? Where before the publishing house, we know it's all numbers, it's all who knows who. I mean, it's just a mess out there, right? So it's shifting. That's another thing that's shifting right now, and we're part of that movement of bringing. What is the purpose of a publishing house? Is to inspire the people, to motivate the people. It's such a beautiful avenue to activate humanity. Like it just is beautiful. To me, it's just so beautiful. So yeah, I can talk about that all day. So you can find me with my free group, Moon Goddess Sacred Sanctum. You can find me on my website, moongoddessacademy.com. You can come join my multi-author book. I'm going to have more coming up. The first one that is happening is Miraculous. So if you have any story of miracles that have happened to you, or transformations that you went through, or ways that you healed yourself when nobody thought it would be healed, any story like that that you are ready to share with humanity, come, let's talk. I would love to have you in the book. Yeah.
Well, I hope you get a lot of messages from just putting it out there, because it is so important, and it's actually helping people to step out of the comfort zone.
Yes.
And that is for me, to be talking in English here and speaking live. You know, we are
Yes.
live and we are talking a different language here. And the first time I was doing that, it was totally so scary because I stepped out of my comfort zone and but I faced the fear, and that is what you are offering a possibility for people to do, to step out of your comfort zone and face your fear, and nothing bad will happen from it. I'm still
And
here.
and expand. Well, you know, the key here is that you're not doing this alone. And that's what
No.
I love about multi-author books. Is that you're working with, you know, like 10, 20, 30 other people who are in the book. So it's a community. You jump into a community. And, you know, the more books I do, the more contributors come in. So that community grows too. So you're not doing this by yourself. You are surrounded by others
Yeah.
who have also chose to share their story and are also going through the same thing you are, you know. And so in the process, like one of the things that we do, we meet on a weekly basis and we just chat what is coming up. Sometimes I'll give them prompts, you know, to go share with the world, but all of that is to just let you know that you're fully supported. And in your work, in the sharing of your wisdom, in the sharing of your medicine, you're not alone in this. You weren't meant to be alone, right? So there's so much more that happens in the background. Like once you're a contributor, you're fully supported on that journey. Yeah, you're
No, it's
definitely
good
not
to
just
know.
coming in to throw your story down and then you leave. No, no, no. It's a whole journey, an empowering, supportive journey. Yeah.
That is so good to know, actually. So, um, those are those things, the academy and the publishing, and you also have a podcast.
Yes.
You haven't mentioned that, or have
Oh
you?
yeah. So my podcast is Sovereign Divinity Podcast. It's going to be starting again. Oh my gosh, September is around the corner. It's going to be starting again in September. I took a little bit time off, and it's just what inspired me to start that is what you said. It was my way of I needed more avenue to share my work. Like that was the inspiration. It's like there was so much wisdom that was ready to come up that I needed more ways for more people to tune in. So for example, if someone is not on Facebook or social media, they can just go and, you know, find my stuff on podcasts and just listen to it, or find my, you know, like the video on YouTube and watch it, right? So it's accessing different groups of people that might not be on social media. It's just all about expansion, like get the light out there. How does the light want to get out there? Podcasts, video, let's do this. So I've done interviews on the podcast, you know, but they're more like if I meet someone, I'm like, I love your energy, let's have a chat. It's more like a chat, right? Like what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
They're very authentic, they're deep, right? I don't do shallow. No.
No, shallow won't get us anywhere.
No,
No.
it won't. It's not even fun. No, I don't have time for that. You know, it's deep, it's real. You know, we talk about tools that will help humanity at this time. So the interviews on there are just priceless. And then, of course, I talk about, you know, whatever wisdom is ready to be shared with the world on there too. So Sovereign Divinity Podcast, it's all about getting to know you, who you are, really understanding that you yourself, you hold the power, you have the wisdom, you have the tools, you have the answers to whatever comes your way. You hold it, and here is how you can find out by learning about all the different modalities. So I have fun on the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, and you should have fun. Of course, life is pretty fun to be living at this time, so it's not more dark than you actually have to
Yes.
do it. Oh no, yeah, skip that, skip that. We're not even going there. We're not even going there. But are you planning to do something like an event or something right now? Do you have anything planned that you want to put out there for us to know about?
Sure. So apart from the multi-author book that I'm working on, I do these summits like twice a year. So I do one like earlier in the year. The one that we did was like the Light Summit, and it was all about light language. It was powerful. And all that interviews, all of that is in the free group. So you can always come and receive the blessings for it, the activations from it. And this fall, so I do one early in the year and I do another one towards the end of the year. So there's another one coming. I don't know what the title will be yet, but I'm putting it out there. The purpose of it is like, for those of you, if you're ready to be seen, if you're ready to share your magic, share your gifts, this is a great place to do it, right? And I do it in my Facebook group because it is in a sacred container. So you feel safe to show up, right? You are in a safe container to show up. And then after that, usually what happens, like, people will come in and do the imagining, like, oh my gosh, I felt amazing. Now I'm going to go do a podcast. Now I'm going to go do this, right? But it start with feeling good, like be in that sacred space. So, I hold it in my Facebook group. And so you come in, you share your magic, depending on what topic that is. As we're talking, like something is dropping in, we'll see. So just watch out for that. I would love to have speakers in there. I would love to have people who are ready to share their gifts with humanity, whether you're a healer, you're an activator, you're a divine feminine mentor, like whatever you are, if you're ready to share with humanity and humanity needs it at this time, I want you in there. Yeah. And it's a free summit. So yeah, something
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's part of my service. Yeah.
Now we're going to put it out there so we can give that information to the people that are in this community. And
Yes.
Because we have had a lot of beautiful speakers here that
Yes.
actually move into your site and be giving their information to you and see if there can be something developing from there. So
Yes. I would love that. Yes.
I think of that. Wow. So you're a busy lady.
It looks like it.
Yeah, well that's beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
And I love this energy. So it's good to be here, and you are very. I can feel you very, very strong in my heart. So
Thank you.
Thank
you for receiving. Thank you for receiving.
Well,
Yeah.
this has been fun, Abigail. Do you have anything more that you want to say? Is there anything you want to address that we haven't addressed?
A message to humanity. We're going through a time of change, and it's not going to end with this year. I mean, we've known this is coming for a while, and we're in the deepest part of it. And I know a lot of you are feeling afraid because the old is gone. You can't go back to the old, and you don't know yet what the new is. All you know is this moment right now, and it can be scary. I want you to know you're not alone. And I also want you to know that the new coming is exactly what we've all been praying for. But it takes all of us working together to break down the old, to break down what no longer works, what no longer serves humanity. It takes us breaking that down to create a new foundation upon which we can start to build the new. So be strong, be courageous at this time. Lean in on your support. I'm talking about both spiritual support, especially your spiritual support, and then your physical support. Lean in strongly on your spiritual support. Your higher self is key. If you're not doing this, start calling your higher self in. And you can do this first thing in the morning or before you go to bed. Put your hand on your heart. Breathe into your heart and say, higher self, I call you into my heart now. And start to get to know yourself. Your higher self is you. It's the aspect of you that is plugged into source, unlimited, infinite, knows everything. Why not be one with this aspect of yourself, right? Call that aspect of yourself into your heart. Get to know this part of you through your higher self. Call in your team of angels, archangels, the masters of light who are signed up to mentor. Call all of them in and really feel their love around you, that circle of support around you. Let them hold you through this time. You are here in this pivotal time, because you have the strength to make it through. You have the power to make it through. Do not underestimate yourself. You got this more than you think. You got this, and you are never alone. You're never alone. You are loved unconditionally. You're supported. You will always be uplifted. Lean in, really dive in deep into this love that is infinite, from my heart to yours.
Thank you so much for these uplifting words. They are a real pep talk, actually, and yeah, feels good. So take those words with you and embrace them and contemplate about what they are really meaning, because you are worthy of it all.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Abigail, for being here with me.
Thank you
It
for
was a true
having me.
blessing. It was a true blessing for me to have you here. So, and we will put your Facebook link in the comments, and so people can reach you so much
Beautiful.
easier, and
Beautiful.
your YouTube link too. So,
Beautiful.
yeah, thank you
Thank
for
you.
being here, everybody, and thank you, Abigail, once again. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.